Hey everybody, today I'm talking about Raise the Past. This is a great standard deck that kind of blurs the line between a black-white aristocrats strategy and a one-card combo deck where Raise the Past interacts with just everything in your deck, and you don't need much more than just itself in order to win with drain triggers. So let's talk about the specific cards that are in the deck, and then we'll see some gameplay on how it works. So Nesting Bot is a 1/1, and when it dies, you make a 1/1 token. That's all that you really need to know. There is Start Your Engines, and you can make the Nesting Bot up to a 2/1, but it doesn't really come into effect too often. It's really just a 1/1 that creates a 1/1 when it dies. That said, Infestation Sage is very similar. A 1/1 ground creature, when it dies, it becomes a 1/1 flyer. Snarling Gorehound is a 1/1 black menace creature, and whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters, you surveil one. This is going to be a main way of kind of filtering through our deck, and specifically after we use the first Raise the Past, make sure that we have the second one on top of our library so that we can draw it on a future turn and win if we haven't won already with the first. The last one drop we have is just a single Forsaken Miner. This is just a 2/2 that can't block. If you commit a crime, you can bring it back to the battlefield effect. In my testing so far, it doesn't really come up all that often. Most likely, it's just a 2/2 that sits in a graveyard. For your 2-drops, and again, remember, these are all coming back multiple times with Raise the Past. We'll start with Voice of Victory. This is a 2-mana 1/3 with Mobilize 2. That means when it attacks, you bring in 2 tokens, and the tokens go away at the end of the turn, although you can sacrifice them between the time you attack and the time you would have to sacrifice it at the end of the turn, so it has some extra fodder to be able to have some sacrifice triggers. So 2-mana 3/2, where you can sacrifice a creature to surveil one. Again, another way to kind of dig through your deck. Vengeful Bloodwitch is a 1/1 that drains. That is, your opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life whenever another creature dies. Now this is creature, it doesn't have to be non-token creature. So the tokens that are coming out from Nesting Bot, Infestation Sage, Voice of Victory, those are all going to net you a drain. We have a 2-mana legendary 2/1. When you sacrifice an artifact or creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on this. Another 2/2 for 2 with Vigilance and Menace. Whenever another creature you control dies or is put into exile, so it happens for both ways, you put a +1/+1 counter on this and you gain a life. When this creature dies or is put into exile with power 4 or greater, you destroy up to 1 permanent. So this is the only removal that we have in the deck. But we are so often just attacking all in. If they are blocking and putting our creatures into the graveyard, that's where we really wanted them to be anyway. The last of the 2-drops is a 2-mana 3/2 legendary creature. It does have Start Your Engines. Here, it becomes important for Start Your Engine. It has the ability to sacrifice another creature and surveil one, just like the previous card. But it also has max speed. Whenever a non-token creature dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature, right? And so it turns everything into a Nesting Bot or an Infestation Sage. Lastly, the only card that doesn't get recurred with Raise the Past is Sephiroth. This is a 3-mana 3/3. When it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw a card. Then, if that trigger happens 4 times in the same turn, then you transform Sephiroth to the other side. It becomes a 5/5 flying creature, and you get the emblem of that drain. When the 5/5 flyer attacks, you may sacrifice any number of creatures, and if you do, you draw that many cards. The lands are pretty straightforward. It's all of the best black-white lands that are in Standard. We are playing a couple of basics. We are trying Starting Town, although I don't know exactly how good it is. We're definitely giving it a shot. Godless Shrine. The life loss for Godless Shrine is negligible. You will be gaining enough life, so that kind of offsets it. Concealed Courtyard is just the fast land that you really want to see. And Bleachbone Verge, this is a black land. It taps for black mana, but if you have a plains or a swamp, whether it's your basics or your Godless Shrine, right? It will tap for either color. So that's the deck. We'll talk about sideboard maybe in another video, but we're really going to talk about best of one on MTG Arena, and I would love to show you how it works and see what you guys think. We're going to jump into it right away with the first game. This is a very fun game to play. You don't necessarily have to spend a lot of your energy thinking about your opponent's deck. You're really thinking about your deck, what you can do to get the most number of creatures out onto the battlefield before you hit that first raise the past and do it all over again, and then you're thinking about what you can do for the second one. So this looks like a keep. We'll start with Infestation Sage and then see where we go from there. You can play Concealed Courtyard on the first turn, and you'll have untapped mana. Our opponent did have to mulligan, but we'll start really quickly. Depending on what my opponent plays here, this is what 2-drop I'm going to play. If there's nothing that is going to be blocking, then it looks like I'll play Voice of Victory. And since we don't need that, we'll play Voice of Victory, just attack for 1. Next turn, depending on what we draw, we could always play another. We could play a Bloodwitch, and then we'll get the 2 triggers off of the mobilized tokens. So that's definitely something to consider. This is a deck that wants to put a lot of pressure. You need to be attacking every turn. We have not seen a Raise the Pass. It's not in our opening hand. We didn't get it on our first draw. So we want to make sure that we are pushing as far as we can so that we're not giving our opponent extra time. Okay, when it enters, you discard a card and then draw a card. That is fine. Okay. Almost put the what we could do is we could play a Zealot. We could attack with everything, and then whichever creature they block, we can go ahead and get rid of for the Scry. So we'll go ahead and tap that. We'll play the Zealot. We'll attack. I assume they'll block the Voice of Victory. Yep. We'll go ahead and sacrifice it. We'll put creatures in the graveyard. And we'll sacrifice these tokens before they sack at the end of the turn. Next turn, no, we don't need that. Next turn, we'll look to play a Voice of Victory and a Vengeful Bloodwitch. Okay. Yep. That definitely hurts the digging for Raise the Past here. My opponent, I assume, is going to attack here. Yep. Okay. We'll play a Voice, and then we'll also play a Vengeful Bloodwitch. We'll attack and see if my opponent wants to trade. Although, I assume he'll just let us take the 1. Next turn, we'll look to play both creatures. We don't have a sack outlet. That is hurting us from digging further in our deck. A Raise the Past here would bring back all 4 creatures. No blocks. Okay, back to us. Here's a Raise the Past, and that is great to see. So we'll wait for the next turn. We'll play out our hand, attack with everybody, see what he wants to do. He wants to do Blood Witch. Okay. That saves him a couple of triggers there, but okay, he's down to 7. Okay. Let's see what we got. Is he going to attack? Yep, I'll put that back in our hand. Okay. Raise the Past is going to get enough creatures out here to get this done. So we're gonna ditch as many creatures as we can. We can sacrifice creatures only once per turn. Okay. Who do we have that is not... Who can attack? These two, right? We'll keep Blood Witch so that we can have extra triggers. So he takes 2 triggers for each creature. Yeah, so once per turn. So we'll go ahead and sacrifice the tapped Infestation Sage now. We'll get 2 drains. Yep, and Surveil. Yep, and our opponent couldn't really do anything there. If he did, he couldn't attack in because he knew we were going to block. He couldn't just sit there and wait because we were going to get him. So that's kind of how the deck functions. That Raise the Past came right at the perfect time. We didn't want to wait too much longer for it. We'll go ahead and try another one. This is a fun deck that I like to play. It is, for me at least, something where it is pretty relaxing to play. You don't have to get, you don't have to think too much. Here, the problem with this hand is there's not a lot going on turn 1. We are going to keep it because we have raised the past, but it's not a great hand. This is not the type of hand that I like to keep. But we are on the draw, so we do have a chance to draw. I think we have 13 1-drops, and with that, you know, we have a decent chance to find one, although we don't find one today. We'll start with the Menace creature, if nothing else changes. Okay, this is a creature that they want to start thinking about blocking. They know that they don't have the block right away. This is a land to play on turn 3. This will always come in untapped. This will not, so we're definitely playing this on turn 3. Yep. We can attack because it does have Menace. So it's not going to block with just one creature. Next turn looks like we're going to play a pair of creatures. We do have a sack outlet, so we're going to be able to threaten to pump this up to a 3-drop. Or a 3 mana. I'm sorry, a 3/3. Let's see what he does. He's going to gain a couple of life here. New creatures come in and are going to gain him 2. Nothing in the graveyard yet for raise the past, so we are all on attacking. That's an aggressive attack, but I could definitely see it. If he attacks, we don't necessarily want to do that, do we? We would have to threaten to get rid of 2 cards to make it a 4/4. But yeah, I think so. If we don't do it now, when are we going to be attacking? Our opponent is also committing to a wider board, so I'm not overly concerned for board wipes right now. Creature heavy deck. They are going to gain a lot of life, and so the this is if they have 25 life. Okay. We'll keep that in mind as we are going to be attacking, so we'll see what we can get it down to. Let's see what we have here. Okay, that is a big time card. Okay, he's only going to be able to attack. Okay. Surveil into the graveyard. We might have to sacrifice a lot of the board in order to get rid of the 6/6, because otherwise we're going to have a tough time. I think that's what we're going to do here. Right, so if this power 4 or more, we destroy a non-land permanent. So we can sacrifice him. Destroy this. Put a lot of creatures in the board. In the bin, I'm sorry. Get another drain. We can sacrifice. Another nesting bot. We will keep one of the legendaries, and we will get a bunch of triggers. So we are going to look for another Raise the Past here. And there it is. Unfortunately, you do have to stop at the Raise the Past, otherwise you just might not find the second or the third one in this case. And we do have another sack outlet, so we can go ahead and attack. Okay, we can always sacrifice the Infestation Sage in order to get a 1/1 flyer that can block if we need a chump blocker. Opponent is weighing his options. All attacking doesn't seem great for him, but if he stops attacking, it seems even worse. He knows we had something like 12 triggers for Scry, and we stopped about 4 cards deep, and so he should kind of know what he has coming. Only 3 cards in the graveyard that are eligible for coming back, but we can also just straight up attack next turn. Destroy an artifact. Put a +1/+1 on each creature target player controls. Okay. Now he knows we're not putting that in the graveyard. Okay. That is 11, so we're in no danger of dying here. And so everything with the trigger we'll just do on his turn, since the Scry isn't going to give us anything else on our turn. So we will go to attacks. We need to make sure that we have a sack outlet. And we don't want to get rid of Vengeful Bloodwitch. I guess we could attack there, right, with Bloodwitch, because we were going to bring it back with Raise the Past. I guess that's right. We could have just went ahead and attacked with everybody. he has enough life where we're not going to kill him this turn. Right? We're only going to be adding a nesting bot, a Gnarlid, and another sack outlet. If we had more than one Bloodwitch, we might be able to add more. Okay. These are all coming back. Okay. And we'll start sacking them. Yeah. Like this. Yeah, so I think we will have enough triggers. Though this is the last time we can pay for that. Yep, the opponent sees the writing on the wall. It is a little slow to make sure that all those triggers happen, but once you get the deck going, that ends up what happens. Did you have fun? Yeah, on our side, the deck is very fun, so I'll go ahead and click that yes, I had fun tab. Doesn't mean that the deck always works. There are times the deck can fizzle out. You saw there that they did have some aggro in the air, and if we didn't have the life gain, we wouldn't be around for too much longer. So the deck has its weaknesses, but overall, it is a quite fun kind of one-card combo, as I like to think of it as. You're playing that very quick, aggressive aristocrat strategy for the first 4 or 5 turns. Then if you hit the raise the past, you do just have kind of a oops reset button that you can press later on in the game to kind of get everything back, get all your triggers happening another time, getting your entering triggers happening, getting your leaving triggers happening. Yep, this sounds like the kind of opening hand that we want. In this kind of opening hand, you always want to start with Gorehound. Because that will let you dig through your deck for either the 4th land or other creatures that you want to go ahead and get rid of. So we'll start with Gorehound. Usually in these decks, you want, if you have a 2-drop and 2 1-drops on turn 2, you'd rather play the 2 1-drops. Just get your creatures on the battlefield and see what your opponent wants to do. Ooh. Hello, opponent. I think I know what you're looking to do. We'll play Infestation Sage. And we could get the land a little bit later. And we can attack here. We will get such an engine going. Comes into play sometimes, but not always. Having 2 raise the past in my hands means if he does attack, we would double block. And I don't think that's going to go the way my opponent wanted it to go. He'll sacrifice it for the scry instead of getting those creatures off the board. Okay, that part makes sense. We'll play a Sage. We'll play a 2/2. And then we'll attack with the 2 1/1s. I don't want to lose the Gorehound here, so we won't attack there. Opponent might just let us take, you know, might just let us hit him for 2. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, Sephiroth, probably getting rid of Gorehound. Okay. It makes sense, but I do like Gorehound for digging for what you need. Like even right now, if we were to hit a land, just getting those 2, you would get 2 triggers. It's a +1/+1 counter, plus the Surveil again. This land comes in tapped, so I don't think that's what we really want. If we can't get an untapped land, then I'd rather have a creature. This entering and then killing itself would trigger this. I guess we could have attacked first, right? Do we want our Sephiroth? Yeah, we could take that. And now we're going to attack for a decent amount. Yep. We'll get another counter. Okay. Bloodwitch. If he has a 1-drop, he could... Nope, he doesn't have a 1-drop. Okay. Sephiroth will get rid of Infestation Sage. That will draw us a card. We'll also scry. We can attack. He could double block on the 6/6, but if he does, I think we're winning that game, so I'm not overly worried. Otherwise, he just lets us eat everything. Yep. He is taking 7, going to 7. Okay. He could have raised the path, but it's only 2 creatures. Right now ours is a decent number. No need to block. If he has a sack outlet, okay, he gets his stuff back. Makes a lot of sense. We attack. Do we want to sack? No, we just play Bloodwitch. And no creatures that I control are going to die, are they? No, we want to break open the number of triggers. Yeah. Okay. Opponent playing mirror match. You definitely want to have more drain triggers than your opponent. That is the way that you will rank up. If you both have a Sephiroth on each side, those drain triggers will offset each other. But once you get a second triggering drain, then you're going to start pulling ahead from your opponent. So that is the Raise the Past deck. I kind of call it a one-card combo because Raise the Past is the only card that does what it does. The rest of the deck, the aristocrat style of the deck, you're just playing like a 56 card deck against your opponent's deck, and then you have this reset button that is Raise the Past. I would love to hear what you guys think about the deck. If you've tried it in the past, or if you're looking to try for the first time, I would love to hear what kind of success you have. It certainly is better in a best of one format than a best of three, where there may be more graveyard hate coming in from the sideboard, and you need to make sure that you are prepared for those cards. And let me know if you want to see a follow-up to this deck where we dig into a sideboard and maybe we take it through some best of three games. If you like this content, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, put some comments below, right? I read every single comment and I try to respond to each one. I want to see, what kind of content you guys are enjoying so I know what to make to help better serve you. So this is the Raise the Past one card combo deck in Standard. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.